Hello everyone, welcome back to Elite Tales. Here we discover the emotional and captivating stories about Elon Musk. In this video, we will capture the heartwarming moments of famous entrepreneur. Before we begin, I request you that please subscribe our channel for more interesting videos. It was a chilly New Year's Day, and the streets were filled with excitement. People bustled around, preparing for the upcoming celebrations, anticipating the joy that the evening would bring. In the midst of it all, Elon Musk, the visionary behind SpaceX and Tesla, was heading to a glamorous party. He had been invited to a grand gathering where the city's elite would meet to usher in the new year with champagne, laughter, and extravagant decorations. Dressed sharply in his suit, Elon was looking forward to the night ahead. Yet, there was something about the cool winter air that made him feel reflective. Perhaps it was the success of his ventures, the milestones he had achieved, or maybe the fact that, in spite of all he had accomplished, something just didn't feel right that day. As he drove through the quiet streets, his car gliding smoothly along the road, a soft sound caught his attention. It was faint at first, barely audible above the hum of the engine. But it was enough for Elon to pause for a moment, his eyes scanning the surroundings. A small whimper. Elon immediately slowed down and rolled down the window of the car, trying to locate the source of the sound. The streets were relatively empty, the city's usual bustle subdued in anticipation of the evening's events. It wasn't until he heard the sound again, a soft and desperate cry, that he realized where it was coming from. He turned the wheel and steered the car down a narrow alleyway, the sound of the puppy growing louder with every passing second. There, just ahead, in the middle of the alley, lay a tiny puppy barely more than a few months old. It was caught in a pile of tangled wires and debris. The little creature was struggling, its tiny body trembling with fear and cold, its legs tangled in the mess it had gotten itself into. The puppy's fur was matted, and its eyes, filled with confusion and pain, looked up at Elon as he approached. Without a second thought, Elon jumped out of his car, leaving the engine running as he rushed over to the puppy. His heart ached as he knelt beside the fragile creature. The little puppy looked at him with pleading eyes, unable to free itself from the trap of metal and garbage surrounding it. "Hey there, little one," Elon said softly, his voice calm but filled with concern. He carefully reached for the wires and debris, his hands gentle as he freed the puppy. It whined in distress, but it didn't lash out, trusting him instinctively. Elon's fingers worked quickly, untangling the mess that had ensnared the tiny creature. Finally, with one last pull, the puppy was free. It staggered slightly, its tiny legs weak from the ordeal. Elon, ever so patient, scooped the puppy into his arms, holding it close. It wasn't long before the puppy stopped trembling, looking up at him with wide, grateful eyes. Elon stood up slowly, cradling the little puppy in his arms, and for a moment he just stood there, watching the street around him. The city was busy, but here, in this quiet alley, the world had paused. It was just him and the puppy. And in that moment, everything felt simple. The plans for the evening, the party, none of it mattered as much as this small, fragile life in his arms. He walked back to his car, carefully placing the puppy on the passenger seat. The cold winter air stung his face, but the warmth he felt inside was far greater. He knew he couldn't just leave this puppy alone. It needed care, comfort, and safety, something it hadn't had for far too long. The fact that it had found its way to him felt like fate, a sign that sometimes, even the smallest of acts can make the biggest difference. Driving back through the streets, Elon's mind was elsewhere. He wasn't thinking about the party anymore. The laughter, the champagne, the glamorous night ahead, it all seemed so trivial. What mattered now was this puppy, the one he had rescued from a life of uncertainty and danger. As he drove, he called his assistant. "I need to cancel my plans for tonight," he said simply. "I have something more important to do." He made his way to his home, carefully carrying the puppy inside. He set the little one down on a soft blanket, offering it food and water, watching as the puppy hesitated at first before taking a few tentative sips. Elon smiled, relieved that the little one was starting to settle. As the evening went on, the puppy grew more comfortable, curling up on the soft blanket in front of the fire. Elon sat nearby, watching over it, feeling a deep sense of contentment. He had saved this life, this tiny creature that had been so vulnerable. And in return, it had given him something he hadn't expected: peace. It had been a long time since Elon had felt this level of peace, this kind of calm that seemed to flow through his veins, filling the spaces in his heart he hadn't known were empty. The world outside his home continued to hum with its usual rush, the clocks ticking, the deadlines looming, the pressure mounting. But here, in the warmth of his living room, with the fire crackling softly in the hearth and the puppy nestled beside him, everything felt still. Everything felt right. He watched as Chance, the little puppy, curled up tighter into a ball, its small form rising and falling with each breath, a picture of serenity. Elon allowed himself to relax, to be present in this moment. He didn't have to fix anything, solve any problems, or make a breakthrough in technology. For the first time in a long while, he simply let go of the weight of the world and focused on the simple act of caring for another living being. The thought struck him, as he gazed at the little creature, that this was what it meant to be truly alive, not just existing, but fully embracing the quiet moments, the acts of kindness, and the love that came from giving without expectation. As the night stretched on, Elon couldn't help but reflect on how unpredictable life was. One moment he was heading to a glamorous party to celebrate the turning of a new year, and the next, he was sitting in his home, cradling a tiny puppy that had been abandoned and left to fend for itself. It was a stark reminder that life didn't always go according to plan, and sometimes the most profound moments were the ones you least expected. He had always been someone driven by innovation, by a desire to push the boundaries of what was possible. But there was something about rescuing this tiny puppy that made him realize that not every challenge in life required a technological solution. Sometimes it required empathy, kindness, and a willingness to help those who couldn't help themselves. It was a lesson that hit him harder than he expected. The puppy, whom he had named Chance, had been given a new opportunity at life because of a single decision. Elon wasn't sure why he had stopped that day, or why he had felt so compelled to help. But in that moment it didn't matter. All that mattered was that Chance had been saved. And for that, Elon was grateful. The next few days were a blur of vet visits, comforting routines, and the gradual process of making Chance feel at home in his new surroundings. The little puppy grew stronger each day, its appetite returning, its energy building. And every day, Elon grew more attached to the small creature. It was as if, through the puppy's eyes, he could see the world in a different way, more innocent, more full of wonder, and more deserving of care. It wasn't long before Elon began taking Chance with him everywhere. He became the new companion who accompanied him to the office, to meetings, and even to SpaceX headquarters. There was something undeniably comforting about the puppy's presence. It was as if, no matter how hectic or overwhelming the day became, everything could be momentarily set aside when Chance looked up at him with those trusting eyes. Elon couldn't help but smile every time he saw the puppy bounding towards him, tail wagging furiously, as though it was just happy to be in his presence. In return, Elon made sure Chance never felt alone, never felt unwanted. He made it a point to be there for him, just as he had been for so many other projects in his life. But this tiny, innocent life had captured his heart in a way that nothing else had. One afternoon, as Elon sat in his office, reviewing designs for the next Tesla prototype, Chance trotted over to him, gently placing its tiny paw on his knee, as if trying to get his attention. Elon looked down and chuckled, distracted from his work. It was moments like this that reminded him of the importance of pausing, of putting down the plans and the papers, and simply taking a break. He reached down to pet Chance, who eagerly rolled over onto his back, exposing his belly for a belly rub. Elon laughed softly, his fingers brushing the soft fur. There was something disarmingly genuine about the puppy's love, so simple, so unguarded. In a world that often felt too complex, Chance had a way of bringing everything back to its roots. After a few moments, Elon straightened up and looked at the clock. He had meetings to attend and a long day ahead, but he couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the tiny creature at his feet. As he made his way to the door, he paused for a moment, turning to look at Chance one last time. "I'll be back soon," he said softly, as if the puppy understood. And with that, he left for the office. But Chance, ever the loyal companion, didn't move from his spot. He simply lay there, waiting for Elon's return, content in the knowledge that his world was a safe place. The days turned into weeks, and Chance continued to thrive under Elon's care. He was growing stronger, becoming more playful and curious about the world around him. As the puppy grew, so too did Elon's bond with him. It wasn't just about saving him anymore, it was about love, companionship, and the simple joy that came from sharing life with another living being. Elon found himself more reflective in the evenings, after the workday had ended and the chaos of his life had quieted down. He would sit with Chance by the fire, watching the flames flicker and dance, and think about the events of that night, about how he had found the puppy, how it had changed everything, and how it had given him a renewed sense of purpose. It was a routine Elon came to cherish. As the hours of the day would pass by, consumed with the demands of his companies, the deadlines, the meetings, and the endless tasks that awaited him, he would look forward to the moments when he could unwind. Sitting by the fire, with the warmth of the flames crackling and the company of Chance, he found a sense of peace he hadn't realized he was missing. The world outside was cold, the winter chill creeping through the streets, but inside, there was comfort. The fire illuminated the room with a soft, golden glow, casting long shadows across the walls. Chance would curl up beside him, his small body pressed against Elon's leg, a quiet, steady presence in the otherwise still room. It was during these quiet moments that Elon's mind would wander to the events that had brought them together. The way he had found Chance on that cold New Year's Day, how he'd been wandering through the streets, making his way to a party when something about the puppy's sad eyes had caught his attention. At that moment, he had no idea what would come next. That one act of kindness would lead him down a path that would change not only Chance's life but his as well. Chance had been weak, frightened, and alone when Elon had found him. The little puppy had been stuck, unable to move, a casualty of the harsh winter elements. But now, the puppy was thriving. He was gaining strength every day, his coat shining a little brighter, his eyes more playful, and his tail wagging eagerly whenever Elon came into the room. The transformation was remarkable, but what struck Elon the most was how much the puppy had changed him. As Elon sat in his chair, his fingers gently running through Chance's fur, he thought back to the early days of his career. There had been a time when his focus had been entirely on achieving greatness, on reaching the next milestone, on changing the world with his ideas. And while those accomplishments still drove him, the puppy had reminded him of something he had forgotten along the way: the importance of compassion, of slowing down, and of taking care of those who needed help. The little puppy had shown him how to appreciate the quiet moments, the ones where nothing had to be accomplished and where love and connection were all that mattered. Elon knew that, in a way, Chance had saved him as much as he had saved the puppy. The bond they shared was something new for Elon. He had always been a visionary, a man driven by ideas and innovations that could change the course of humanity. But here, with Chance, there was no grand plan, no mission to accomplish. It was simply about being there for another living being, about nurturing, and about providing the love and care that came naturally when you truly cared about something. In the days that followed, Elon began to see the world differently. He started taking more time to spend with Chance, walking through the quiet streets of his neighborhood, watching the way the puppy would trot happily by his side, eager to explore everything around him. The simplicity of it all made Elon feel lighter, more grounded. He had always been focused on the future, on space exploration, on artificial intelligence, on the next big leap forward. But now, he found himself contemplating the present, the here and now, and what he could do in this moment to make the world a better place. There was something about Chance's innocence that reminded him of the purity of life before it became clouded by the complexities of adulthood. It made Elon want to fight harder for the things that truly mattered: the well-being of others, the importance of kindness, and the value of taking care of those who couldn't care for themselves. Whether it was a puppy in need or a person in pain, Elon knew that his purpose wasn't just about creating technologies, it was about creating a world where compassion could thrive. As the days turned into weeks, Elon's connection with Chance only deepened. He made sure to take care of every need, from feeding him the best food to ensuring he had all the necessary medical care. The little puppy had become part of his routine, part of his family. And in turn, Chance had helped him find a new sense of purpose, one that wasn't tied to spreadsheets, stock prices, or rockets soaring into the sky. This was about love, unconditional love, and the bond that formed between them was unlike anything Elon had experienced before. He took Chance everywhere with him on work trips, on visits to SpaceX, and even to Tesla's headquarters. The sight of the tiny puppy waddling alongside him brought smiles to the faces of his employees, many of whom had never seen Elon in this light before. They saw the side of him that was tender, patient, and protective. It was a side that Elon had kept hidden from the world for so long, buried beneath the weight of his ambitions. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, Elon returned home to find Chance waiting at the door, tail wagging excitedly. There was something about the puppy's enthusiasm that made everything else fade away. The world outside may have been chaotic, but in this moment all that mattered was the puppy who had found his way into Elon's heart. Elon knelt down and hugged Chance, feeling a surge of warmth as the puppy licked his face, its tiny body wriggling with happiness. There was something so pure about this relationship, so free of complications or expectations. It was a reminder that, no matter how big the world seemed, the little things mattered the most. Over time, Elon's relationship with Chance began to inspire others around him. His friends and colleagues began to see the change in him, the way he approached life with more patience, more empathy, and more care for those around him. His employees noticed that he was more engaged, more present, and more willing to listen. It wasn't that he had lost his drive or ambition, far from it, but the way he saw the world had shifted. He now understood that leadership wasn't just about achieving goals, it was about inspiring others to be their best selves, to take care of the world, and to lead with kindness and compassion. Chance, the little puppy who had been abandoned on that cold New Year's Day, had become a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always a chance for a fresh start. And with that, Elon Musk found himself forever changed. As the months passed, the bond between Elon and Chance only grew stronger. The little puppy, now fully recovered, had become more than just a companion. He was a reminder of what was truly important: love, compassion, and the ability to make the world a better place, one small act of kindness at a time. Chance had come into Elon's life when he least expected it, and in doing so, he had taught Elon Musk more about life than any of his many achievements ever had. And as they sat by the fire, with the warmth of the flames casting a gentle glow on the room, Elon knew that he had found something truly special. It wasn't the rockets that soared into the sky or the cars that sped across highways, it was the quiet moments shared with a little puppy that had changed everything. With Chance by his side, Elon Musk had learned that sometimes the greatest achievements in life weren't measured by the milestones we reach, but by the love we give and the lives we touch. What an incredible journey of compassion and unexpected friendships we've witnessed in this heartwarming story. From the moment Elon Musk found Chance, the puppy in need, to the beautiful bond they formed, we were reminded of the power of kindness, love, and second chances. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories like this. Thank you for watching. And remember, sometimes the smallest acts of kindness have the greatest impact.